on there very much.
Which is in New Orleans.
But I still had a great time while I was there.
New Orleans is an alcohol city.
It sure is.
It is, and the bums and the millionaires alike will come knee crawling up Bourbon Street.
Mm-hmm.
They will. They will. One of them will have a.
I would say Bourbon Street is one of the sleaziest parts of New Orleans.
Absolutely. I hate Bourbon Street. I hate what I call getting stuck on Bourbon Street with all that stuff going.
With all those walking, drinking people. Smelly walking,
do you know
drinking
what I'm
people.
talking about? And you've got,
oh my God! You had
and
to.
you've got somewhere to.
Come on! I lived there. I hated Mardi Gras, and I hated Bourbon Street. I didn't just dislike it. I hated it.
Well, that's what I say. That's what I was saying. I hate Bourbon
and
Street.
I hated those cheap walking, drinking people.
And you get like stuck in the middle of a bunch of them, and like you've got somewhere to go, and you can't get through them, and they're just all over you.
In fact, I think what solidified my fear of large crowds of people
Bourbon Street?
was New Year's Eve, where all of the French Quarter was those walking, drinking people, and there were these kids that were stealing things left and right and picking people's pockets. And I had a little small business there, and several of us vendors thought, well, we're going to sell New Year's Eve stuff to the revelers, because we were at Jackson Brewery, and that has the ball that comes down. So we had our table set out there with all of our goodies on it, like kind of in the U-shaped, and there was 2 or 3 of us manning the
and
table.
these brats came through stealing.
They were stealing everything, left and right, just very black, just handfuls of it, and off they'd go. And there's nothing you could do.
You needed a long ruler for smacking knuckles.
There's nothing you could do. Nothing you could do. You were in the middle. I mean, you can't believe how congested that crowd was.
Oh, no, I do.
Move.
That's why I hate it.
So I had that experience, and I had another experience at like a Richie Havens concert at Jahrhundert Hall, 100-year Hall in Frankfurt. And so they had these stanchions, and the crowd was here, and there were no seats, so there was no reserved seat, so it was first come and first served to get to the best seats.
Right.
And the crowd started
pushing. Oh God.
And there were thousands of them.
And you didn't get trampled?
Well, I was with my first husband, and he was a big man.
And so he stood his ground.
Yeah, he stood his ground. So he stood his ground, and so kind of had me in front of him. But he had his elbows out.
Have a seat.
And so those two things cured me of crowds. I avoid a crowd at all costs.
Hello, Davina.
How are you, Matt?
Good.
Yeah, I think there's a clean one right there.
It's different microphones.
Yes.
Yes.
Pull your microphone.
Speaking of microphones, do you have a set of earphones? Earphones that I could.
So I want to hear the difference.
Well, I haven't got you yet. I'm just.
Oh, okay.
Okay, there.
So I'll just talk there.
It's excellent.
Okay.
We're very happy with the difference.
Okay.
Do you have a set of earphones that I could borrow in August?
Yes. You don't have earphones? Oh, well, you need a set of.
I've got to go film a convention for somebody.
Well, no talking it.
Okay, I'm talking. I figured if I just started yammering, I'd feel like I was interrupting Devine, so I didn't want to do that. I'm just, I'm experimenting with the zone of effect in the microphone here.
Don't you like the sound of the microphone?
Yeah, they sound good. What inspired you to make the difference, though? Just the sound?
Yeah.
Okay.
My main inspiration was the fact that they're directional sound. They're directional. Okay. And I got tired of the omnis that were in here just picking up all the sound bouncing around the room. And I just wanted to focus it and point it more like who's talking.
Okay.
And so I decided to do that. And so I went in there and I decided to grab these. And Jonathan said, oh, nobody ever wants to use those. See, because they're in cardboard boxes. And everybody thinks, oh, they're so cheap, And I'm like, oh, let me have those, Jonathan. Because I happen to know they're very good microphones.
Okie doke.
So.
Well, gonna discuss here a moment my perceived advantages and disadvantages. There are times when you had a lot of people in the room hold of having a conversation, which the omnidirectional definitely came in handy. But yeah, these do sound better for ambient noise and
They
such.
sound good, don't they?
Yeah, does sound better.
They're probably, you're hearing the fan running too.
Yeah, hearing the fan a little bit, but it's a hot summertime. Everybody considers fan and sounds like that to just part of the package.
It is. How have you been? And tell us about your visit to the Ernie Awards.
Oh, okay. My visit to the
They won a
If you
lot.
pass them back, if you
They
pass that plate over
swept.
here.
They swept the
Pass the-
awards.
Pass,
Actually,
pass the plate of cookies over this way. And here's some of these too. Okay.
Ralph Roberts did very good.
No doubt.
Ursula didn't even show up because she didn't.
I heard
I think
Ursula swept it.
Ursula swept it, and she wasn't even there. I had asked Doris ahead of time to accept the awards for her, and so I've got Ursula's stuff in the back seat of my car. She's got 2 Erdies sitting in my back seat. I'm ready to give to her whenever I see her. So,
A couple of Erdies, huh?
yes. And she did very well. I think Ursula thought she wasn't going to win anything, which I think is a little absurd because Ursula does very good work. I think I'm really kind of bummed that they did away with the music video category. I mean, I guess they didn't get enough submissions, but of course I feel that Mount Dungeon would have won the music video category had there been a music video category, as opposed to being put into variety.
What did you?
When it was up against
which
more
episode
competition.
did you enter? Oh, I know. I was going to say, which episode did you enter?
For music video,
The short girl, right?
Laura Reed, yeah,
Yeah.
who was incredible. She was absolutely incredible. But that got moved into variety. The one I entered as variety, I think got put into community arts, which was one we did before you came on board. It was the more like experimental dance, performance art, and a couple guys were hip hop poetry. It's the only one which we've deliberately had 2 different acts in one episode.
Okay. And which one took first place?
For that,
No, for your didn't one of yours take first place?
oh, we got first place in potpourri, which is like all these other ones rolled up together, because it was our first attempt.
Was that
entry.
Laura Reed? No.
Potpourri was. We also entered one for first attempt, which was our very first episode, which you've seen, and it looks great. I mean, for a first episode, I think we managed to pull off an absolutely amazing one. So
I have one for you. I met the guy here, who used to be with Mount Dungeon. That's not anymore. Originally,
Jeffrey.
I think that's his. Yeah, would be.
Yes.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I met him.
Okay.
Yeah, so now I know who. Now I have Jeffrey placed.
Okay.
I think I have to go. Herb was supposed to pick me up at 5:30.
Okay.
I'm
would
bringing
he-
some pimento cheese next week.
Oh, right. Would he not stick his head in?
No, I think he sits out there and watches.
Oh, outside?
He was sitting out there and watching. Hi, Herb. Hi.
I'm coming.
Oh,
I'm
hey.
on my way.
Hey.
His camera's showing.
All right. Hey there.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye. It was good to
Bye,
have you.
Devine. Good to see you.
It was good to see you, Devine.
I feel very bad about what went on with Jeffrey and Mount Dungeon.
Did you not get a cup over there? Is
I
that
never
not
grabbed
is
one.
That
I
not
just-
a clean one?
It is. I just started playing with the microphone as soon as I sat down. I got distracted. I'm like, oh, that's not the normal microphone. Ooh, shiny, shiny.
Oh yeah.
So, this is all your fault.
What's that? The microphone?
Yeah. I feel like it's your influence that has like started giving me.
Microphone thing.
Yeah. I've
Yeah, I
gotten
tell you what,
increasingly fascinated.
I enjoy a television show or a music video or something like that. If the microphone is in the shot, it doubles my enthusiasm or my interest in the show.
It certainly doesn't bother me. I got nothing against it. And some performers, I mean, that's part of their shtick is like having the microphone as, something to fiddle and play with. And
Yeah.
I mean, you see some people sing, they look like they wouldn't know what to do if they didn't have that in their hand.
I'm sure of that. Mm-hmm.
So
I'm sure of that.
it works for them.
Yeah.
But I do feel very badly about how Mount Dungeon ended up treating its first host.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, but I mean, I understand it was necessary, but I'm not sure that putting the poor fella in stocks for 3 days and throwing rotten tomatoes at him was really called for. That's not. I'm just teasing.
I know. It's funny because it wasn't even my idea, but I was the one who took the responsibility of having the conversation with him where we let him go, because as the duties have fallen, you'll notice sometimes it comes down when it comes to doing like person-to-person damage control. Oftentimes in Mount Dungeon, I'm the one that ends up taking that.
You get to
mantle,
do the dirty work, okay?
I oftentimes do the dirty
so
work.
Is this leading up to you letting me know that you'll be letting me go this week? What?
I have no intention of letting you go.
Okay. Well, I'm just checking. So,
You may be crazy, John, but I know you know your stuff.
and then again, on the other hand, I may know my stuff, but I am crazy.
Well, that's okay.
Oh, good. I think you had one of those before. Eat it. Eat it.
It's tasty.
Good cookies. Aren't these some wonderful cookies?
Not only that, John, but I mean, you have been there for us, like when we've needed you. You took the time to show me the basics of sound, show me the rope and everything like that, and then you stepped up and you volunteered to help us out in full time with sound. So,
Well,
I respect that. I am thankful for
well,
that.
y'all had a good crew. See what I mean? And that,
Yeah.
because y'all had a good crew, that made me want to pitch in, and be part of it. Because as you have found out too, it's fun to be part of a good crew.
Yeah.
You know, where everybody knows what their job is and is focused on it and get along well together too. You know, we have a lot of fun. You may have
Usually.
noticed that. You may have. I think we always have fun. Do sometimes you not have fun doing Mount Dungeon?
Oh, I always enjoy it. I always love it. But admittedly, sometimes I realize that I also, among the mantles I take on, is I also sometimes become the whip cracker. And you'll notice, like, of everybody in Mount Dungeon, I am the most high-strung about punctuality. It's very odd. I used to not be like that. I used to be really bad. I used to be one of these people
Before Mount Dungeon?
I was endeavoring to get better about that before Mount Dungeon. I was really trying. I was putting effort into it, but Mount Dungeon, like, doubled that, if not tripled. I mean, it really, if you want to talk about the most profound effect that Mount Dungeon has had on my performance and functionality, I think it would be that it's made me a more punctual person. So.
Well, you may have noticed that I fly right off the handle and with a sense of urgency when I finally spring into action. On that stuff, I get rather crazy.
Well, I find that a relatable sensation. Sometimes I find myself getting a little nutty, like if I'm in clock is ticking mode and I'm looking around and other people don't seem to be like keeping pace with the timetable I'm going for, I tend to get a little. I think you've noticed that about me. So
I really don't see how we could do the Mount Dungeon show in any shorter time period than we do it in.
Well,
and pull it off well. I mean, sometimes we do.
Sometimes.
Just because sometimes we have a band that's very organized or something, you know, and
still the record time for getting an episode done was still our third episode with the rib tips. We had the whole thing done in 2 hours. But the rib tips, very professional, very good musicians. I mean, well, for one thing, they were all acoustic. So I mean, it was miking. You know, it was real easy setup.
You weren't worried about feedback or any of that stuff.
I mean, it was a real easy setup, and these are guys that are used to just like walking out with their instrument, setting up on a street corner, and boom, playing like that. So I mean, it was they had their routine down. So.
And they made one of the better shows.
And they made a really good show, one of our early ones, and still a very good one. And I mean, really early on, I got into the whole idea of one episode being so different than another one. Because we had DJ Mr. the Best, the first episode, followed by the Rib Tips. I mean, you know, total 180 there, and that set the tone. Did you get to see last night's episode?
No, I did not.
It's Fighting Fauna. You know what? And the subject of one episode being different from the rest, I declared this episode of Mount Dungeon to be the most likely one to ever give somebody nightmares.
Oh my.
I've heard a couple people say that there's some good acid going around Asheville right now.
So don't take it and watch Fighting Fauna.
Oh, absolutely do. I hope there was somebody tripping and watching that episode last night.
Is it that weird?
Yes.
When does it air again? When does it air again? Do you know?
Let me ask Kurt.
Okay. Is Kurt
still
here?
I don't know. No, Kurt's gone already.
Oh well, there's a schedule. There's a schedule posted on the web page.
Yeah, Jonathan's taking care of somebody else right now, so I'm not gonna bug him to look that up or anything. But
Grab, do me some of that tea. I'm gonna do half and half, if you would. I like half and half.
But
Yeah.
definitely, the episode of Mount Dungeon most likely to cause nightmares.
Really.
I'm not kidding.
You found it frightful.
It was kind of like mind-blowing in parts, and there were parts that if I was in a somewhat different state of mind, I genuinely would have wanted to jab something into my brain to make it stop.
Really?
Megan's found some filler. Megan's found some filler that was just bizarre.
Oh, some background.
Like there was just filler as well, because it was a really short set.
Oh.
They did all their songs, which came out to be about 16, 17 minutes.
I see.
So this had probably more filler than any other episode.
I see.
Great interview. The interview came off amazing.
Okay, good.
I was great, of course.
I see.
But there's at one point there was like a singing robot mannequin thing singing a very discordant tune.
Uh-huh.
And certain states of mind, it would have just been like horrified. Like seriously, they're not words for it. I loved it. I loved the fact that we had an episode that might actually invoke nightmares now from certain people in certain states of mind.
Did you hear what happened? Did you hear what happened to the baby?
Yes, they lost an episode.
Entire episode. It was recorded on nothing.
I'd be furious.
And it was arguably their best episode in that they had a metal band on that was really quite good.
It's a real that situation's
The
real.
good ones always
conundrum.
get away. The big ones get away, don't they?
Yeah, I wasn't there for that. And on the one hand, I would have been like to be there to actually have mic'd a band for them. That would have been a good experience.
That's right.
But if I went ahead and did that and the whole episode never got recorded, I'd be really frustrated.
Frustrated.
I mean, as it is, I'm saying, wow, that really sucks. But I wasn't there, so I don't feel the same pain it would have been as if I had
done it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely, feel for them because I've done more than half their shows with them. But
right.
yeah, I'd be furious. If I was Mr. Honcho, I'd be furious, and maybe Mr. Honcho is furious. I don't know.
Mr. Honcho, I know.
Yep.
He seems a pretty good.
Johnny Honcho's comparatively,
spirited guy.
yeah, he's a good spirited guy. I like him. Kind of laid back. I don't know how he'd take it, but even if he takes it well, some of his crowd may not take it so well.
I'm guessing the band were the most disappointed because they came. Well, you know how a band from our show would react if the day after the show we called them up and we said, "Hey, gee, it didn't get recorded." They'd be heartbroken.
Well, actually, apparently the general consensus is that they were not pleased with it anyway. So everyone's kind of excited to have to reshoot.
Really?
Apparently they screwed the audio up because I thought it sounded okay, but then again, I was hearing it more from the studio wall than I was from the TV.
Right.
So, but Kurt said that the audio was clipped because they kept going too loud.
Well, that's easy with that kind of a band.
Right. So he said he could do a better job on audio and all the skits they screwed up.
So they're gonna redo the same thing next week.
Yeah, they're gonna reshoot the metal episode.
Okay.
Is it going to be done next week?
Version 2.0. No, it'll be
2 weeks.
Yeah, it'll be like 4.
I don't know if I have to work 2 weeks from now or not. I'd like to be there to do the sound for it when they redo it.
It's probably their best episode.
Did the audio get recorded?
I don't know.
If you flip that switch, does the audio get recorded?
I don't know. I would guess
not.
that the audio's there.
Tell me
Well,
something.
you know what?
Because if it's routing it through the...
Earlier today, I turned my TV on. I saw a Future Doc episode.
Okay.
When was that recorded? Do you know? I mean, was Future Doc in this week? Is it new?
I don't think so.
Okay. Because I saw, what's the girl's name?
Rachel?
I saw her here
Right.
the other day when I stuck my head in. And it never dawned on me, were they shooting an episode? No. So this is an old episode.
Might have been a particularly informative one that Kurt felt like rerunning, but
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He reruns.
I don't think the audio got recorded because I went home when I
You
got
watched
home
Black,
from
there
work.
was no audio?
Yeah,
No, there was
I
no
saw
audio.
some
So
Black.
there was no audio
Yeah.
on the...
There was no audio.
It was just,
Then there is...
Just-
I just
yeah,
remember-
it would have went out if there was audio. Which would have been actually pretty funny.
I just
Maybe does the dark episode. The whole show's in
black
the dark.
metal. It'd be black metal for real, wouldn't it?
I don't know. I mean,
Wanna
you know,
come in and have
maybe
a
they
cup of
could
tea?
carry
There's a
that. Maybe
couple
they could
there.
pull that off.
Sure.
Grab a cup and have a seat here. You can.
I just remember on Wednesday, 10:32 p.m. I turned on the TV. I saw Black. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah, and for a change, it was Kurt's show instead of mine. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was like when.
Well, it was nothing. It was the technical director. The guy. I mean, you can see when you're in there. if
Everybody
there's
has-
an image on the record deck, and a couple people have done it now where they've not recorded.
Well,
And I understand the hoopla of setting up. You know, it's like the last thing you
It
think of.
is.
You put the tape in. You bought the tape. You label it. You put it in. You know.
But
good.
they have-
That
but they
part of your
have a
mind
full-
goes, check. You know, it's done. You know.
Yeah.
And then I can see how it'd be easy to get past like, oh crap, did anybody hit record?
Right. Well, like if one person is running the sound and running the switcher and running the record deck
Right.
and doing the roll in
Right.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that, it's a little easier to. But if you've got a full crew, then you know that's what's good about Mount Dungeon. We've not lost an episode. Now that doesn't mean it can't happen. We have some really.
Well, you lost one.
We've disappeared one.
Yeah. And probably for
You've
good reason.
disappeared one
We disappeared one.
on purpose.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's one in which, you know, the artist wasn't happy
no one
with
will,
it.
and no one will ever see it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's
But it
played
wasn't
once.
due to a
Right.
technical-
But
Yeah.
Okay.
But it wasn't. But it
Right.
wasn't lost due to not pushing record.
Yeah. No, it was she didn't like it. She didn't think it was a fair representation, so okie dokie. And it to this day is probably our weakest episode. So fair enough.
And then is this the same artist that then I turned around and did a music video for right after that?
Possibly. I don't know who you turned around and did it.
A Red
It was
Hit?
really one of our
Red
one of our
Hit?
really, really early ones. Like episode 5. It's disappointing because we had a few strong episodes in a row and then got a little hinky for a while.
It's fair to say that was not a good capture. Normally, I would say 98% of the time you guys are dead on for
Thank
getting them
Thank
sounding
you.
the way they sound, and then showing them perform in a good way.
I'll say it again. I've been enjoying the Plowshares
It's a good
episode.
episode.
They're awesome, dude. He was on my radio show, and it was a blast.
I really have been
By
enjoying.
far.
Great guy to interview.
Oh, he's a
early.
wild card, man. You should have seen him on the radio show. Wait till you see
believe
him
it.
on my show.
I'm sure. I mean, you had him for hours.
Yeah.
I mean,
He was at my house beforehand, and we hung out. And
yeah. I mean, I remember asking him for one
see.
question. One question. I don't even remember, but I mean, 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he had the serious, like, long-winded, artistic answers all thought out.
That was one of our better interviews.
Yes.
Was.
well, he
Last
makes it
night,
easy
though-
too. He's so. I mean, you
Yeah.
just give him.
it's like just go, just wind him up.
Yeah, no, David Earl. Yeah,
He's
a cool
awesome.
Dude.
He's awesome.
But I enjoy his
Big ups and mad respect to David Earl, the Plowshares, Emotep. do your
Emotep's
thing.
also very cool. I run into Emotep quite randomly every once in a while.
Yeah, he's around, man.
And admittedly, like half the drummers that have been on Mount Dungeon, I can't remember. I'm sure, like I've walked right past dudes like that have been on Mount Dungeon in the Green Life and stuff, and like not even acknowledge it. I feel
they're
bad
thinking
for it.
that snob.
Right.
He didn't even say
There's
hello.
so many. I mean, I can only keep track in my mind of so many bassists and drummers, admittedly. But Emotep is very distinctive.
You would notice him. If
I
you walked
remember Emotep. Yeah, I run into him every once in a while. Say, hey, what's up, dude? How's it going? That kind of thing. He's a cool dude.
Right. But I enjoy the vocal delivery and the vocal style and vocal delivery very, very much, and the spirit for the whole.
Well, he's
band.
dynamic. I mean, he goes from like, ooh, and then he's like, whoa, and veins are popping out of his neck. I mean, he's intense. He's intense. He's got a lot of energy, and you can tell, he means it. He's an authentic. He's authentic. He's the real deal. Genuine artist.
Yeah,
And
he's loving what he's doing.
right, and it's great to be around. It's fun. It's energizing. It's inspirational. I mean,
Yeah,
the guy is awesome.
Let's have him back. Let's have him for the tea party.
we get him on the tea party.
Yeah. So do the plowshares come to tea?
Mm-hmm.
Open invitation to tea.
Right.
Indeed.
Make it a trifecta. He's been on Mount Dungeon. He's been on the Hot Minute Show. Now we need him on the.
Yes. Last
Mad
night
Scientist.
was also a great interview for just completely different reasons. The Fighting Fauna one. It ran over really well.
Did you hear? Were you in there listening to his description of fighting fun? Okay.
It is the Mount Dungeon episode most likely to cause nightmares. And I'm proud
see
of
that,
this
can't
fact.
you?
Even more than Hell Blinky.
Yes, and I'm so proud of this fact.
Wow.
I'm so proud of. I love it. There's an episode of Mount Dungeon that might genuinely cause nightmares.
Truly
Because the
disturbing.
Hell
Makes me
Blinky
happy.
Sextet, that episode bothers me. I usually feel kind of weird after watching that
I
one.
like
Yeah.
it. But I really like Hell Blinky Sextet. Like I saw after that episode, I became fans. I try and go see them whenever they play in Asheville.
Right.
So
Did you
really liked it. But
did you join a vampire cult?
No.
Okay.
never?
Don't say vampires, and Michael Folliott will be here like, "Where's vampires?"
He loves vampires.
He the whole 48-hour film project last year. He's like, "We need to get vampires." Right? It's kind of like, all right, we get it. Like, shut up.
I know.
We're not getting any vampires. Nobody knows any vampires.
Oh yes, there's a lot of vampires.
There are a lot, but nobody in my crew knew any of them. So.
Yeah, well, anyway, if you have or are thinking about joining a vampire cult, there are certain things you should know about blood-borne pathogens. Okay.
Yeah. Me and random people's bodily fluids, not so much. No, I don't. No. But last night's interview, you guys will just have to see it.
Yeah, I gotta see it.
Ben did a split screen thing, so like I'm actually like above them.
Yeah.
And Megan did the split screen background, so
Oh.
I've got a different background. Didn't quite sync up, but it was close enough. But what was great is not only was like I managed to respond well with my facial expressions to what they were doing, but we had no idea.
Did you look down and they would look up?
Yeah, and lo and
yeah.
behold, when I was, I was looking down when I was addressing them, even though like they were over there.
Uh-huh.
But we managed so that I actually looked at the right place, and I had no idea if I was looking at the right place or not.
It's
but
like the Brady Bunch.
Right.
but it actually came off.
Now, is that something you knew beforehand? You knew you were gonna do that?
Yeah.
In the,
It was very
when you were trying it?
spontaneous. It was spontaneous.
But you still you knew
Yeah.
you were going for that.
Oh yeah,
Just
no,
when we set
Ben's
up the
like, hey,
cameras and we say, hey, da 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 da. Yeah, and we did it. Yeah.
This episode also had a lot of like us just messing around and experimenting. Like it was just
It was
bizarre.
fighting fauna. What
Right,
you gonna
right.
do?
When you have a band like that, you have open license to be creative.
Oh.
Oh.
All right.
Now I sound like I said something really messed up. Also, the last thing I heard was, when you have a band like that, click, go to the global.
And I had just finished saying it was fighting fauna. What you gonna do?
What you
But
gonna
the repeat has, or at least this one, is still.
How much time you got on the repeat?
Oh, so we're
What's up,
recording
repeat people? This is exclusive footage, not shown on TV
Yeah,
till
that's
now.
right.
It wasn't live, it didn't go out, but you're gonna see it now. Only the late night crowd's gonna see this.
that one actually.
Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Actually, the late night crowd is probably going to see what hopefully just got recorded on the server, and which